Season 3, Episode 4. And then we're caught up. I don't know if it's going to end at 4 because, like a lot of your TTT seasons do have about 3 or 4 episodes. I think on average it's 4. And then maybe they'll do like a behind the scenes one kind of. But I think the second season of Tzuyu High School was like long, wasn't it? Didn't they have like a lot of episodes? Of course, it was very elaborate. But you know what I've noticed about this season is that like it because it's really it emphasizes like this sort of social dynamics kind of, you know, it's very linguistic, you know, whereas like the first season was sort of these class activities and stuff, you know, sort of like we're gonna translate the Twice songs, or you know, but they did it more straightforward, right? Or the art class, you know, just so like it was kind of pretty much what you would actually see like in a class, or you know, like it was kind of more practical, I guess you could say, right? And then the second season was all action, you know what I mean? Like it was the sports stuff, so it was like something that they had to do, and in that action or whatever, that's when you would get like funny moments and all of that, and the sort of reactions and responses, and then that sort of like haunted school scavenger kind of hunt thing that took place in the evening. Again, that was like they're putting him in these situations where there's like jump scares and things, you know what I mean? So there was a very defined like goal or action to perform, and in doing so we got these moments and these, you know, reaction, this sort of spontaneous stuff. But this one is more idea based, right? Like it's a lot of the expression of concepts, and it's quite fast. Like some of that is the editing too, like you know, the way these episodes are edited together, because there could be where somebody says something and then in the edit it's like you get the response like right away, where there might be more time elapsed, like you know, if you saw the whole like all of it without any sort of cuts or anything like that, but it's still quite quick paced. And so the when you watch these episodes, like it's moving really really fast, right? Like they actually get through a lot of stuff in a relatively short amount of time. So to keep, you know, you kind of like, even though it's a more linguistic idea-based kind of thing, and the way they interact with each other, you know what I mean? Like it's a lot of communication and everything, but it's so fast-paced, right? So it's been fun so far. I want to see what teacher Taeyeon is very cute, right, in her glasses. So like this was madness.
Cry.
Ooh.
하천 만원을 설득하고 싶다. 자, 토론을 해볼 거예요.
It's the way that it opened with the acrostic poem kind of. See, everything is like really sort of centered on language and communication, and it's fun, right? The acrostic poem thing, that's something I always enjoy. You know, you can see them do it on like Idol Room, and it's something that they do a lot on variety shows, you know what I mean? This acrostic poem thing. So like everyone does it, like all the, you know, a bunch of different groups do it and all that. But it's fun, especially with like the Korean language, you know, because your different characters that represent different syllable sounds, and you know, and the grouping of characters, depending on what you connect that to, you can get a completely different meaning, or you like you know what I mean, like it has much more like room to move, to transition, to create like a different topic or something, you know, like it's quite fun when it's applied within the language, right?
불리하잖아요. 그건 자기 주장이 강해야 돼. 제일 센 애야. 얘네는 흔들리는 애들이야. 맞아.
Oh, let's see how this goes, right?
그래서 첫 번째 토론 주제는 바로
네.
자, 읽어보세요, 반장.
한여름의 뜨아 네 한겨울.
Okay, wait a minute. Should one choose hot Americano in the hot summer versus cold noodles in the middle of winter? Huh. I mean, I guess it depends, right? It just depends. If it's hot summer, but you're inside, you work inside, and it's relatively comfortable and all of that, then, you know, and you just feel like having a cup of coffee, you know what I mean? Like just a regular old cup of coffee, like, you know, that could work, right? You know, you probably, if you're outside doing yard work, you naturally won't want a hot coffee, you know what I mean? Like you're gonna want like something, you know, cold, like that, you know. And cold noodles in the middle of winter. It's interesting that it's cold noodles, you know what I mean? It's because you can imagine eating cold stuff when it's cold, you know, cold treats, probably like ice cream or something like that. But it's interesting that it's cold noodles. I'm trying to think. There was one this was when I was in Okinawa, right? This is the only real time that I think I've ever had like cold noodle, or what sounds like it, you know, to me. And it's Okinawa, so it's quite warm, like you know, it's very humid, like pretty much all the time, or at least while I was there. And so I was out on the weekend, like and I was kind of bar hopping from place to place outside of base, and me and a buddy of mine happened to find this little hole in the wall, you know, place where the lady who owned it, right? It was a bar. She would serve alcohol, but she also had her little kitchen set up there, right? And we went inside, you know, we got a couple of drinks, and then she said, "You guys need something to eat," you know, like we affectionately called or referred to the ladies who ran these types of establishments as the mama-sans, right? Like, so we went there, and mama-san was going to take care of us, right? Like, so she, you know, serve us the drinks, and then she was kind of like, you guys need to eat. You haven't eaten, right? I could tell, like, you know, you guys need something to eat. So she cooked up some of these noodles, right? It's like some ramen noodles, and there was no soup, right? Like it didn't have like a broth or anything. She cooked up the noodles, she drained the water, and when she served them to us, it was over ice. I can't remember. I think it was a bowl. I think it was in a bowl, and so it would have like ice on the bottom, and then the noodles on top. And then what she did was she gave us some wasabi to go along with it, and so you would take your wasabi and then take the noodles and then eat them like that. It was really good. That's the only, like, when I hear cold noodles, that's what I think of. And I don't know, I'm because hot noodle, hot ramen or whatever, that makes sense in the winter, right? I don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting. Like,
그래 물냉.
한겨울의 물냉. 한겨울의 물냉이지. 그것은 제가 정해드릴 겁니다.
네.
한여름의 뜨아. 한겨울의 아.
okay, so she gave them what they have to argue for, I guess, right?
어디서는 벌점은 절대 없어요. 자, 뒤에 손 들고 서 있어. 나연 학생. 싫어요. Get out.
Oh,
Get out. 선생님, 제가 대신 나가겠습니다. 나연 학생을 위해서 제가 대신 나가겠습니다. 좋아. 이런 태도 아주 좋아. 인형. 감사합니다. 오케이. 자, 그러면은
teacher Dubu is really cute, but she doesn't play around. You know, that's kind of funny. I should have expected it too. But oh man, she said get out. She said get out.
한여름에는 물론 아아가 모든 분들이 더우니까 먹어야 되지만 쌀을 먹어야 된다고 생각합니다. 왜냐하면은 뜨거운 날씨니까.
Huh. Presupposition. A sort of
뜨거운 거를 먹어야 더
begging the
더위를
question.
잊게 되는 거죠.
인정.
네.
To forget about the
한겨울에는
heat.
물냉이죠.
뭐 밖에서 밥을 먹나요? 뭐 밖에서 이렇게 돌돌 떨면서 밥 먹을 거 아니잖아요. 무조건 어쨌든 밥은 실내에서 먹잖아요. 실내 한겨울에 춥겠어요? 난방 엄청 틀려서 따뜻하겠죠. 덥겠죠. 따뜻해 죽겠는데 한겨울에 이렇게 시원한 국물을 마시는 게 행복이다.
I think so. She's making the same argument basically that I made for the coffee thing, right? Like during the summer, you'd be inside if you're inside in the AC. You know what I mean? Like, okay, you just want a regular cup of coffee, but she's applying that same logic to cold noodles in winter. You gotta love Nayeon's spirit, though. It's the way that she pitches it, right? It's her delivery on it, you know. Like, oh, you would be so happy, right? It's how she does it.
자, 다음 A팀
잘했다.
저는요 겨울에 너무 춥잖아요. 근데 거기에다가 또 물냉 먹으면 사람이 아파서 죽을 것 같다고 생각해요. 겨울에 물냉 먹으면 죽잖아요.
뭐 그렇게 나쁜 아이였니?
아니야 그렇진 않아.
야, 너무 좋다. 정말 그건 안 좋은 발언이야.
맞아.
날씨가 덥잖아요. 안 그래도 사람들이 예민해져 있는데 거기에다가 뜨아를 먹는 거는 더 예민하게 만들고
열불나지.
사람들한테
맞아.
좋은 영향을 끼칠 것 같지 않습니다.
근데 여름에도 안에 이렇게 냉방 틀어놔도 진짜 너무 추운 거 알죠? 막 손발 다 시리고
그러니까.
그러다가 감기 걸려서 아픈 경우도 많아요. 여름에
이건 채윤 씨가 곱게 자라서 그런 거예요. 저희 집은 에어컨을 한 번 틀어놓지 않아요.
그러면 솔직하게 채윤 씨는 한여름에도 뜨아를 먹습니까?
제가 또 말씀드릴 게
방금 한 1분
있습니다.
전부터 바뀌는
여러분, 한여름에 이제 아메리카노를 언제 마셔요? 다들 회사에서 마시잖아요, 많은 분들이. 근데 회사에서 뜨거운 아메리카노를 마신다고 생각해보세요.
See what I mean? But it is interesting. They're well, first of all, Tzuyu and even Sana, they kind of were trying to push the argument a little bit far, right? Like you'll die if you eat cold noodles into winter. You know, that's kind of supposing some extreme consequence to it, right? And then and Sana kind of had the same application as far as like, well, if it's already hot and people are kind of testy and a little bit, what'd you say, irritable, right? So if you gave them something hot to drink, that might exacerbate that sensitivity, right? Well, but it's still kind of pushing a little bit. It's interesting the way that they form this sort of arguments, right?
얼마나 행복해요 밥.
잘한다.
왜요? 사무실 다 에어컨 틀어서 그래도 실내에서는 춥잖아요. 그래서 따뜻하게 뜨거운 그 아메리카노 마시면 행복하잖아요.
아니 여러분 회사에서
That's kinda what
얼마나
I
화가
said.
나는 일이 많은지 모르시나요?
이열치열이라는 말 모르십니까?
다들 회사 안
그래서
다녀보셨죠?
네 마음에 따뜻하게 녹아야 돼.
그리고 따뜻한 건 몸에 좋지만 차가운 건 몸에 그다지 좋지 않습니다.
아,
속이
얼른
따뜻해야
얼른 죽어요.
She's like really suggesting some strong consequences, right?
여러분 제 말을 들어보세요. 자, 뜨거운 아메리카노는 한여름이든 한겨울이든 가을이든 봄이든 용납이 안 됩니다.
그거는 그냥 너무 지극한 개인의 취향을 여기
근데
가지고 마세요.
물은 솔직히 겨울에 따뜻한 고기랑 같이 먹으면 진짜 맛있잖아.
근데 그거 알아? 따뜻한 고기 먹고 그 기름기가 이렇게 몸에 들어가잖아. 그럼 차가운 거 먹으면 그 기름기가 굳어 안 돼. 그거 알아요? 아메리카노 마시면 이가 썩는 거 알아요? 이 까매지는 거 알아요?
근데 있잖아요.
그 놀리면
아니 이거 진짜 과학적인 그거야.
이것도 과학적인 그거예요.
그럼 더 얼른 죽겠네.
Love ain't a science, Chaeyoung. No, it's actually really it's like they're not bad, you know, like coming up with these ideas and everything. See what I mean? Like, and it goes so quick, you know, like it's so fast. I mean, that was interesting, right? Suggesting that, you know, fat, consuming like some sort of fatty sort of meat or whatever, and that, I mean, I don't know. I can't really disprove it, right?
근데 겨울에는요 이벤트가 많잖아요. 연말에는 그러면 술자리도 얼마나 많겠습니까? 근데 술을 먹은 다음 날에 속이 너무 안 좋다. 그러면은 제일 수치를
That's what we got. That's what we got in Okinawa, right?
도와주는 게
And
물냉이에요.
it's interesting, right? Because it's sauna, right? I was in Japan. I was in Okinawa, and that's when, you know, Mama-san said we needed some cold noodles because we've been drinking, and I don't know. Is that there seems to be some consistency, right, in these perspectives that you could probably say they're Japanese. I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, culturally, perhaps that's where the consistency kind of comes from there. It's interesting, man. It's interesting.
엄마가 그랬어요.
See, Mama-san, I told you.
근데 더워 죽겠는데 아메리카노 뜨거운 거까지 먹으면 혀 데여요.
근데 매력 있잖아요.
쯔유가 매력 있었죠. 네, 정말 쉬지 않았어요. 네. 아주 좋은 토론이었어요. 아주 치열했어요. 선생님의 선택은 아무래도 너무 압도적인 매력적인 발언을
It was a landslide victory. Very strong. Like every stance is it's very like, you know what I mean? Like if they're gonna, there's no like on the fence, like, you know, it's always like, no, you'll die, or like it's a landslide victory. It's all in.
너무 잘했어요, 여러분. 다음 두 번째 주제. 자, 부반장 읽어볼까? 공부 1등, 네, 외모 1등. 이번에는
Smartest versus prettiest.
외모로 하고 공부로 합시다.
Aren't Twice like, I mean, they're all smart and they're all pretty, you know what I mean? It's like they're a perfect synthesis of these qualities, I guess you could say, right?
원래 이런 말도 있어요. 예쁘면 다야? 예쁘면 갑니다. 예쁘면 갑니다. 예쁘면 다야?
다야. 얼굴만으로는.
I mean, she's not wrong. You know what I mean? She's not wrong. Oh, I mean, technically, she's playing off of the last debate round because Tzuyu kind of won with her charms, right? With her cute maknae. You know what I mean? Like she used that to her advantage. I think it's a smart
할 수
play.
없는 것도 굉장히 많아요. 하지만 내가 공부를 잘하고 머리가 좋으면 직업적으로 선택할 수 있는 길이 굉장히 많고. 그러면 본인이 고를 수 있다고 칩시다. 내가 둘 중에 하나가 될 수 있는 거야. 그 사람의 얼굴을 빌릴 수 있는 것과 엄청 똑똑해지는 것 중에 어떤 걸 한번 해보고 싶어요? 저는 똑똑한 거.
나도 똑똑한 거.
똑똑한 거. 겉모습이잖아요. 지식이 있고 똑똑하면은 그게 멋있어
사람들
보이고.
도와줄 수 있잖아. 예쁜 사람을 봐보고 그냥
그러면 나 바보네.
Oh man.
이런 자신감 좋아.
Yeah.
다들 외모에 욕심을 내지 않아도 공부에 욕심을 내지 않아요. 사람은 원래 겉모습만 보고 판단하는 게 아닙니다, 여러분. 우리 아직 어려서 그래요. 작년에 보면 완전 잘 살아. 얘 가진 게 얼굴밖에 없는데 엄청 잘 살아요. 가진 게
She's like, "Are you agree with? Do you support that position there?" I don't know. It's interesting because it's twice, and they're all very smart actually. 장현 is very smart. Like none of them are just a pretty face. That's they happen to be very beautiful, but they're also very smart.
살아가야 하냐? 어떻게 야무지게 살아가야 하냐? 공부를 잘하면 머리가 회전이 빠른 거잖아요. 얼마나 야무지게 잘 알뜰히 살지. 행복하게 열심히 행복하지 않아요.
근데 머리 안 돌아가면 얼른 죽어.
What, like, Tsuyu's all about money and or else it's crazy, isn't it? But she's like, I want 40 million, and if you and if you don't listen to me, you could die. It's quite intense. Like, she is totally savage maknae. But this goes back to what I was saying in the beginning, right? Because we all know, of course, like I said, how much Twice really, love each other and care for each other. But if you give them these conditions, if you set it up like it's a competitive thing, they won't hold back. They'll give their best form. Like
생각하면 그런 위험도 있을 수 있다라고 생각해서 그런 토론을 낸 거죠. 봐봐, 다현 선생님처럼 이렇게 똑똑한 사람이 얼마나 좋아요. 예쁘고.
맞아요. 다현 선생님은 외모 1등인데 무슨 말이세요? 다현 선생님은 외모 쪽이죠. 다현 선생님이 되시지 않았을까요? 다현 선생님은 무조건 외모 1등.
See, now she's caught in between it. She's caught in the middle of this, right? Of this dichotomy, because she is smart and she is pretty, and she does. You know what I mean? Like, was she gonna concede on either front? How could she? You know what I mean?
저는 아무래도 사람은 겉으로 판단해서는 안 된다고 생각합니다. 근데 제가 아까 어디를 손들어줬죠?
선생님 이제 결론 내주시죠.
자, 저는 개인적으로 처음에는 공부라고 생각했어요.
이겼다.
이제 모든 학생들이 적극적으로 참여를 해줬지만 그 중에서도 우리 나연 학생이 정말 적극적으로 이 토론에 임해줘서 이번에는 이 팀으로.
혹시 마지막 발언 때문에 그런 건 아니죠?
저는 그렇게 생각합니다.
I told you. Oh man.
마지막으로 하나 더 해가지고 가지고 이제 승자를 가려볼까? 네. 이번 주제는
다현이는 섹시하다 귀엽다 뭐 이런 걸로 하는 거야.
뭐 그것도 좋긴 한데 이건 둘 다니까 안 돼. 그것도 좋긴 한데 자 바나나는 흰색이냐 노란색이냐?
흰색이지.
노란색이지.
정해주세요.
자 흰색 팀은 이쪽, 노란 팀은 이쪽. 자
Obviously, the banana is yellow on the outside. I mean, it's got a yellow peel, right? But the fruit on the inside is usually quite it's kind of like off-white, I guess you could say, right? So I don't know. I think there's more physical evidence to actually point towards yellow than as opposed to it being white.
아 쉽지 않은데.
바나나는 흰색이야. 바나나 껍질이 노란색이야.
맞아 먹을 때 흰색.
그리고
거기를
바나나 우유 먹어봤어? 노란색은 다 색소야.
근데 바나나라는 것 자체가 바나나 껍질도 바나나에 포함이 되어 있는.
근데 거기를 뭐
그리고
먹지
보통
않잖아.
바나나를 그린다면 흰색으로 그립니까 여러분? 노란색으로 그립니다.
그건 맞지.
나 흰색으로
그게
그리네.
잘못된 생각이야.
아직 바깥에만 보고
바나나 바깥에 안 먹자.
맞아.
이게 먹는 걸 물어보는 건 아니었어.
응, 그냥 색깔, 상징.
그렇게 따지면은 초록색 바나나도 있는데 왜 걔는 무시하고 노란색 바나나라고 하는지
내 머릿속에는 다 거의 바나나를 생각하면
노란색.
근데 그거 너무 슬프고 서운한 생각이야. 원래 바나나는 초록색이야. 초록색에서 노란색이 되는 거야.
You know, this is actually quite interesting, right? Because it's kind of like Hume's problem with objectivity, right? This is actually going pretty deep. What Chaeyoung said, you know, when you think of a banana, you think yellow, right? I guess imagine like the whatever the emoji is on the phone is probably, you know, the right answer, I guess you could say. But they're considering the different sense perceptions that you have, right? At least that's what she was getting at there. It's quite interesting, man. Yeah, it is. It's serious banana talk.
여러분 봐봐요. 바나나 주스 갈면 어떻게 돼요? 노란색이에요? 흰색이에요?
근데 우리가 바나나 주스가 노란색인지 흰색인지 하고 있지 않습니다.
바나나는 무슨 색깔이냐?
That's smart because they're sticking to these parameters of what the actual question is, right? And again, this is tying back to sense perception because they want to, you know, the instinct would be like, okay, to start suggesting all these other things, but that's when you get away from the actual debate topic, and so that's when you start to sort of lose ground on the argument there.
그런 브랜드도 있어요. 바나나는 원래 하얗다.
아니야, 바나나 키 봐봐.
그거는 노란색이지. 바나나 킥이잖아.
바나나 킥 노란색이죠? 바나나 킥 아삭했어요. 그 안에 흰색. 노란색.
근데 바나나는 원래 하얗다는 말이 왜 나왔겠어? 나는 이 마음이 전 세계적으로 퍼져야 된다고 생각해요.
그러니까 보통 일반적으로 다 노란색으로 알고 있기 때문에 그런 제품명이 나오지 않았습니까?
그러니까 속살이 하얀색이니까 거기에 맞춰야지.
그럼 바나나 속살이라고 써 있지 않았습니까?
그러니까 바나나는 원래 그냥 흰색이야.
아니야, 근데 자기가 노란색.
자, 너무 기빨려요. 아 이기고 싶어 이거. 그니까 안에는 흰색이야.
As long as they're
바나나 안에는
delicious.
흰색이고 바나나는 노란색. 아니지 노랑이라고 할 수 없지.
노란색인데?
여기까지 하고 여기 지금 수업을 참관하시는 선생님분들이 계세요. 자 선생님들의 생각은 어떠신지 한번.
You know what's really good also is the way that they manage to adhere to their position, even if you know they're kind of reaching a little bit on some of their suppositions here, but overall they never sway from, like it'd be an easy sort of trap to kind of try and get somebody to say, oh well, right, it's this way, right? But Nayeon's like, no, I wouldn't say that. It's funny, but also very like, it's very good, man. Like this, like I'm saying, they're very sharp, right? They're all very smart, and this whole dynamic, having all of this, because it's linguistic, it's language. The whole theme for this entire season has been language, from the class sort of president elections and all of that, right? The proposals. You even saw, like Chaeyoung's strong proposal to give everybody snacks, and then Momo didn't want to be it, so she inverted that entire concept and said, no, if I'm president, you'll have to give me snacks. So everybody was like, no, and then that crazy semiotics English class, and then this, like, it's all communication and it's all language, and it actually shows quite interesting sort of dynamics, right, in between everybody along those lines. It's strangely sophisticated in a way, right?
바나나는 흰색이다.
노란색이죠.
한 분, 두 분, 세 분, 세 분 나왔고요. 바나나는 노랗다. 바나나는 노랗다. 복 받으세요.
바나나는 흰색, 노란색.
노란색. 노란색이지.
노란색이죠 완전.
노란색이야. 야, 안에도 노래. 안에도 노란색이야.
약간 노래.
맞아, 약간 노래. 이렇게 해서 압도적으로 우리 바나나는 노란색이다. 자, 소감 어때요?
네, 리더님 너무 맞다고 생각하고 우리가 이기는 거 앞으로도 이기겠습니다.
아, 쭈이 학생 그걸 아주 잘했어요. 칭찬. 자, 가장 활약했던 학생은 쭈이 학생이 아닐까 생각이 들고요. 또 가장 적극적으로 참여한 학생은 나연 학생 생각합니다.
너무 재밌었어요. 뭔가 신선한 토론 주제였어가지고요. 너무 재밌었어요.
이런 거 좋아요. 우기고
맞아요.
우기는 거 너무 좋아요.
사회 선생님 오늘도 너무 수고 많으셨고 저희의 그런 얘기들을 많이 인정해 주시는 거 너무너무 감사했습니다. 감사합니다.
자, 고생했어요. 고생하셨어. 내가 말했잖아. 선생님 안 했다니까. 이게 어디서 선생님한테. 아니야. 부반장, 옐로 카드. 자, 오늘 토론 아주 잘했어요. 적극적으로 너무 잘했고요. 자, 마지막으로 반장 인사하고 끝날까? Yes, sir. 자, 차렷. 차렷. 선생님께 경례. 안녕히 가세요. 잘했다, 얘들아.
추추추추추 임금 추추추추추추추추 나를 만나러 와요 어서 자요.
I was just listening to that yesterday at work. It's really interesting. This season is like, it's totally different. It's like so different from the first two semesters of Tzuyu High, right? It's but it's quite interesting. They have changed. They're the same, but they've also changed. They've also grown a lot.
저 아까 선생님이 청소할
청소하라고 했잖아. 교실이 요즘에 좀 더럽다는 소문이 굉장히 많이 돌고 있어요, 여러분. 청소 잘합시다. 하자. 청소해야 돼. 일단 우리 처음에 있었던 대로 333 이렇게 의자 놓고. 아, 또 선생님한테 혼나니까요. 전 선생님 말 잘 듣거든요. 선생님 이뻐가지고. 저야 뭐 늘 지호 학생을 믿으니까. 너 걸레질의 유정형이지라. 다현. 자, 너 해. 야, 제대로 쓸어. 열심히 해.
자긴 놀면서.
It's usually Jangyan who tells everybody, you know,
여기까지.
to tidy up. Who's kind of
333이라고
responsible for
했잖아.
that. But
뭐야, 정교해서 333이라고 했잖아. 선생님이 나한테 시켰단 말이야. 미안해. 야, 333
why are
하래.
you
너 가서
yelling?
해. 아니, 이거 뭐라고. 지금 반장된 지 얼마나 됐다고. 지금 조금 별로해.
제가 곧 그 자리에 서겠습니다.
선생님 저희 청소 열심히 했으니까 예쁘게 봐주세요.
상점 주세요.
선생님 사랑해요.
wait a minute.
그러니까 예쁘게 봐주세요.
상점 주세요.
선생님 사랑해요.
What were they doing right there? Were they doing that beating stuff? Like, we should do that in class too. Man, I haven't seen that in like 20 something years or whatever.
얘들아, 안녕. 오늘 잘했니?
네.
오늘 종례에는 딱히 전달 사항은 없고 오늘 하루도 아주 고생했고 마지막으로 교훈 한번 우리 외치고
선생님도 오늘 하루 고생하셨나 봐요.
외치고 퇴근. 자, 반장! 선창!
잘하자! 짜유! 연발해!
자, 내일도 지각하지 말고 잘 오세요.
네.
안녕히 가세요.
선생님께 경례!
안녕히 가세요.
끝나고 떡볶이 먹으러 갈 사람.
나
떡볶이 먹으러 가.
학원 가야 돼.
나도.
나 집에 가야 돼. 자야 돼.
반장 스티커 사진
Man,
안
tteokbokki actually sounds pretty
우리
good.
떡볶이 먹고 스티커 사진 찍으러
왜?
갈래?
나 너네 매점 가도 돼?
나도 떡볶이.
가자.
우리 챌린지 하자.
그래. 맞아. 요즘 학교에서
챌린지
챌린지
하자.
하자.
챌린지 하자.
챌린지 해줘. 내가 찍어줄게. 진짜 찍어줄까?
하나, 둘, 셋, 넷.
까랄게.
야, 저쪽 아니야? 몰라.
너무 안 맞아요. 너무 안 맞아요.
아무리 뜨다.
야, 지우 찍고 쟤네 지금.
안녕히 가세요.
얘들아, 막걸리나 마시러 가자.
Oh my goodness. So I guess that was the maybe the last episode. They might, I guess they might do one of those like sort of behind the scenes like bonus footage things that they've done in the past. Kind of like what they just showed. I don't know if there's more. There probably is. But that was interesting, man. What an interesting season. Like, it definitely was. That was cool. I like how Twice likes New Jeans, you know. They're very good, New Jeans. I enjoy most everything that I've heard from them, you know. I think it's all very good. And I've heard Jangyeon, you know, say before that they're one of those groups that, you know, from a succeeding generation that they kind of also enjoy all their stuff too, and what they do with choreography and the music and everything. So that was cool to see. And then of course JYP's groove back, that was fun. That was cute. It was interesting though. And I wonder if, see, when I was in high school, was it high school? Was it before? I think it was in high school. But they used to do this thing in class where they called it beating, but like what Chaeyoung and Jangyeon were doing with the pens there, like essentially it's just coming up with a beat, right? And you take like the tip of a pen, and that's like your hat, and then you flick it, and that's like your snare hit, right? And then your palm of your hand, right, that's like your kick, right? And we used to sit there and do it in class all the time. Sometimes like we got pretty good, you know, and some guys were really good and they could do it like all fast, like but I haven't seen that in such a long time, man. I think it might have been before high school when I first saw somebody do it, but I don't know if that's what they were actually doing or not, or if they were just playing or something like that. But that's what it reminded me of. It was interesting. It's interesting, but it was just a fun season, man. It's fun. Really, really interesting. Such a different dynamic and tone to this season, you know. I hope that the next time, then, like if this is the end of season 3, I'm hoping that next time, season 4 of TTT High will be OT9, and we'll get everybody there in the classroom at the same time, because that would be really, really fun. You know what I mean? Just to see them all together in that setting, I guess, because we didn't have Jangyeon there, and then we didn't have Mina there but it would just be really cool to get everybody in on it. You know, it would be fun. It'd be a lot of fun. But anyways, let's see if it should be this week, right? If they do want to release one of those episodes that has like the extra sort of footage on it, if there is one, it'll be out like on Friday or something, so it shouldn't be too long. But we'll just have to check back in later and see if they actually drop something like that. I wouldn't be surprised, but it was fun. And they are like, man, they're certainly all growing up and, you know, maturing and all. Like, that was kind of the most interesting thing about this whole season and its dynamic and everything, is it just, you know, so much more to do with communication and language and ideas and all of this, and it made it quite different and quite unique, but you know, in keeping with how they've, you know, progressed and grown and changed like over time. I mean, it's still them, but they're a little bit older, a little bit wiser, a little bit more experienced, a little bit more accomplished. You know what I mean? Like this. And they've had new ideas, and I was just listening to something either last night or the night before, but there's something about like going on adventures and going to new places that you haven't been to before. It's not just that, you know, it's not just like a cognitive thing, like you know, if you take a trip someplace, like when I saw it twice, right? I traveled up to Dallas from where I live, and I had never really gone that way before, and So I was in a new environment, I was in a new place, and all the things that come along with that. But it isn't just a collection of memories. Like when you, especially if you go someplace new and you kind of have a challenge to overcome, or some, you know, work that something you must accomplish, you actually do sort of engage this process of creating new sort of genes. Like there are these DNA sequences associated with it. When that sort of experience, you know, when you have it, it'll do that. It'll trigger, and you will literally grow. Like on the genetic level, you will develop. You'll start to evolve some new genetic material that takes into account this sort of stimulating experience that you've had before, right? You don't get stronger without training, without lifting weights, without working out, and you know what I mean? And it's very similar to that. And I think that's really evident if you watch, like I did, the first couple seasons, right, for TTT High, and then watch this one, and you can see it. You can see how this is like, it's this. They're the same group, they're the same girls, but they've got so much experience now, and it's a part of them. Like they've grown so much because of it, and it's very cool. It's a very cool thing. I look forward to the next semester, right? With I hope we get all 9. I hope we get OT9 TTT High. It'd be so much fun.